I understand that you worked here at one time.
I did.
Okay, for how long?
I worked here for 6 months.
Okay, what did you do?
I was the bartender in the saloon.
Okay. Because now I understand you've had experiences here.
There's something in the basement that's definitely a little unnerving for me. I won't go down there.
Why do you say that?
My stomach starts to hurt and I get goosebumps, start to sweat a little bit.
Okay. Was that the only stuff that happened to you here?
No, I've seen some apparitions as well. I walked through the saloon door over here, and I got halfway through the room before I realized that I felt like somebody was standing behind me, watching me. And when I turned, there was a gentleman standing in the corner.
Now, was it something you could see through? Was he solid?
No, he was solid, and that was really scary for me. Just the fact that I could feel him before I could see him.
There's a man in here. He's not nice. And he does hide in the shadows. He likes to bother people. He is the main badass here. He's very mean to women. He likes to hurt women.
How long did you work here?
For about 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
Now, I've talked to a few people that have worked here, and I assume you've had some experiences.
I've had a few.
Okay, tell me about them.
I was doing prep in the cafe area, and I was just standing, you know, just minding my own, listening to the radio, and I started to feel a tickle on my neck. Then I had my ponytail tugged, kind of jerked my head back a little bit. I was pretty scared. I didn't know what to think or what to do, so I stood still. And a deep man's voice whispered my name into my ear. It was like, Alyssa. Like, it was a deep enough sound that I could hear it. I didn't know what to think, you know, and you don't really think something like that's gonna happen. You hear other people talk about it and you think, you know, it's just a lie. It's not real. It's not real. And then once you experience it, you know, you have to realize, well, that is real.
He likes the neck. He likes to squeeze the back of the neck, like come up and squeeze him. You know, touching people, grabbing people, you know, specifically women. Like grabbing them, touching them inappropriate. It's just a big, solid black mass. And the reason why he's all like black like that and misty like that is like he relates darkness to evil, and he is darkness. He is what he thinks is evil. And so that's his soul.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel being back here?
As soon as I came into the hotel, I just felt weird. Like, I just felt really emotionally unstable.
Okay. Now, have you ever had an experience since you left here?
No. I've never had an experience before until I started working here.
Now, do you think whatever's here is dangerous?
Yeah.
He really, really, really hates women. I don't care. Yell at me all you want.
What is he yelling?
Well, he just got mad and started to, you know, call me a Any men who have compassion for women, any men who treat women well, whatever, he perceives as weak. He's gonna with them, you know, too.
What does he do to the weak men?
He just makes them feel very uncomfortable, like somebody's in the room with them and is like right up on them. A very strong presence. He's a lunatic.
Would you say that he's dangerous?
Yes.
I'm at the local library to find out more about the history of the Occidental Hotel. Digging through the archives, I discovered something completely unexpected. A former owner of the hotel was murdered, but the headlines don't say who did it or how it went down. Now that I know one of the hotel owners was murdered in a high-profile case, I need to get the full picture. I'm headed over to meet with the Johnson County Sheriff. He tells me that the case has a lot of twists and turns. What do you know about this guy that was murdered?
Well, Fred Waggle was a very prominent citizen in Johnson County at this time. He owned a ranch south of Buffalo. He owned the Occidental Hotel from 1906 to 1917. So, you know, he was a very prominent, well-known person in the community.
Steve, how does Fred become a homicide victim?
Fred's had a son named Max who was 20 years old, and Max ended up marrying a young lady named Marion, who was 17. And subsequently, Fred ended up sexually assaulting and raping Marion several different times.
Oh, jeez. All right, so she's 17. How old was he?
He was 60. And actually, at one point, she becomes pregnant. And she's afraid that the child is his. But she ends up having a miscarriage, you know, and loses the baby.
This guy, he does bad things. Everything he did in life to women, he tries to do them, you know, now that he's dead. This is Western. Like, he's a drinker, he's a gunfighter, he's a rapist. I don't like him. He's sick.
So who ends up killing him?
Marion ends up murdering Fred Waggle, her father-in-law.
Okay, and how does she do that?
Well, she came up with a very ingenious plan to doing that. Fred was taking medication for rheumatism, and he's getting his medication in the mail. So she ended up putting a cyanide tablet in the mail and mailing it to him, and he takes it thinking that's his rheumatism medicine.
Okay, now I know a little bit about cyanide. Does he die instantly or does he linger?
No, he lingers for a little period of time. Cyanide death is a very painful death. You know, you can't breathe. It causes excruciating chest pains and eventually ends up to cardiac arrest. It's a very unpleasant way to die.
Something's wrong with his chest, like he has a breathing problem. He feels very alone. He does not feel good about his life. He's so sick. Oh, he's a mess. He's a mess.
What winds up happening with her? Does she get caught?
She eventually does get caught. A gentleman by the name of Walcott and Joe LaFleurs are somehow get involved in this investigation and end up getting a confession from this young lady. And this is her confession.
And she confesses that the reason she does all this
is because of
the rape.
Yeah.
So, Steve, does she wind up going to jail?
No, she never was arrested for this. She typed this confession in her home.
Okay.
With her father and family, I believe, and then she walked into her bedroom and took cyanide herself and killed herself.
I'm seeing this grumpy old woman again.
And she says there were some dirty dealings that went on. There have been things that have happened, people doing things that weren't good. There was one death, and it was a tragedy, and this was not good. It's awful, it's terrible. Like, definitely a suicide.